What's going on, guys? Sumner Healey from landinvestor.co. We're doing cigars and land Q&A. If you're at home, sit down, grab a cigar, and get comfortable. Now, this question comes from Josh, who's one of our LEA members. Josh says, what's your discovery and offer and renegotiation call flow? He wants to know specifics, milestones, scripts, key questions, asks, do's, and don'ts. Well, let me take a puff on this first, Josh. Now, Josh, this might surprise you, but I don't use scripts. I don't have my team use scripts, and I don't personally use scripts. I think scripts are for novices. And this is why I focus on hiring people that have the right soft skills. They have EQ, they're quick on their feet, they know how to make small talk, they're empathetic, right? Those are the things that I want to hire for, and I'll train them on the technicals of land. And so when you get someone like that, or even to some extent, someone like me, like I could go and just BS on the phone for hours about a topic I don't even know about, which is how I started these YouTube videos. Just kidding. And I could piece it together. Right? I think scripts are very obvious to sellers as well. So what we've created, both for our members inside LEA and also for our team, is just a wireframe, kind of like a general flow, like general talking points. Like, here's how you open, here's how you move through the conversation, here are some key questions that you might want to ask, on and on and on again. Now, I'll give you, I think one of the most important parts on these calls with sellers is actually the open. That's the one area that I spend a lot of time thinking about or working on with our team, is how we open these calls. Because when you make this call to the seller, you are initially a nobody. You're catching them off guard. They have no context on who you are. You're essentially bugging them. So when we open the call with a seller, we always come in with an assumptive tone, right? So we don't pick up the phone and say, hey, is this Billy Bob, the seller? It's like, hey, Billy Bob, this is Sumner from the Land Pioneer. How are you doing? Right, who the heck is this guy? Right, we show up like we belong on the calls. And I just assume that I'm talking to the right person. Now, I'm not always talking to the right person, but I assume that I am. So I don't come in with a question. I don't come in where I sound like I don't belong on the call. I show up, I'm smiling, I'm loud, I have tonality, and I have excitement in my voice. The truth is, most people in this world are kind of walking around in a stupor. They're kind of just half awake, half asleep. A lot of people, frankly, just aren't very excited about life. And so when I show up with excitement, they can't help but gravitate towards that because it's different. And so I want to show up and bring good energy or good vibes, if you will, to the call. And that might sound cheesy, but try it. It works. So don't come up and say, hey, this is Josh. It's, hey, this is Josh. Bob, how's it going, man? And I always want to act like I know them. Like I'm talking to them like a neighbor. Like, hey, man, how's it been? How you doing? How's it going? And most people are just going to be caught off guard. They're like, who the heck is this guy? Okay, so the open, super important. Now, the other area that's really important is how we close these calls. I never get off a call without setting next steps. So I let the seller know, hey, here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to send a contract, or I'm going to call you back in 5 days. I'm going to call you back tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'm going to send you this email that has this document. I always let them know what happens next because a confused mind says no. And then once I'm done on that call, I set a next step in our CRM. Okay, so I say, hey, this is what I'm doing next. I set a task, call them tomorrow at 1 p.m. And if you want to go an extra mile, post call, send them a text and email and say, hey, Bob, thank you so much for the call. Again, I'm going to call you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Looking forward to it. Okay, so beginning and end, super, super important. Now, what I always tell our team is the secret sauce to kicking ass with an acquisition manager comes down to 2 things. One, when we look at 100 leads, do we know what leads we should be working on? Because the truth is we can't work everyone. So can we find that needle in a haystack? Can we pick out who might be most motivated and spend our time in the right places? The next thing that we do is, do we stay organized and create next steps so we never forget? My next step might be to call you in 2 years. You bet I'm gonna have a task around that, because there's no chance that throughout the rest of your day, you still remember to call Billy Bob 2 years from now. So we're organized. So being able to find the right leads and spend your time in the right places and organizing next steps and never dropping the ball around it. Frankly, I would say this is almost more important than being hyper polished or very smooth on the phones. We've hired acquisition managers that frankly aren't that slick on the phones or aren't the super fast talking or aren't super extroverted, but because they're so gosh darn organized, they know where to spend their time, it doesn't really matter. Now, when a new lead comes into our business, we do a 2-call approach, okay? New lead comes in, we give them a call within 15 minutes or less. We shoot for that. We don't always hit it. Speed to lead is so important in this business. I'm always trying to figure out how can I get more people to pick up the phone, right? If you can take your pickup rate from 50% to 70% to 80% for all of your leads, you're just gonna make more money. It's that simple. The more people you talk to, the more money you make. So a new lead comes in, we can do a quick DD, kind of create a quick offer range, we give a quick range of what we think the property is worth, and we call them up. Now, on that call, we're typically not making an offer, right? We're building rapport, we're asking questions about the call, we're trying to unearth what their motivation is. Why are they trying to sell to us? Because that's the secret sauce. Once we know that, we've got gold on our hands. What so many people do is they get on the call and they say, hey, Bob, here's my offer. You like it? Bob's like, dude, I don't even know who you are. You know nothing about my property. And frankly, you know nothing about my problems. So we try to delay that offer by a little bit. Now, you don't want to delay it for for too long, but by a little bit. Now, if they really press us on that first call, we'll make an offer. Okay, there's nothing we can do about it. Fine, here's our offer range. But what we try to do is set a next step and get them on a second call and then make our offer. And we want to have some push and pull, some tension. So on that first call, it might be like, Bob, you know what? I like this property, man. There's a few things I'm concerned about, the access, the topo, whatever it may be. I need to talk to my team. I'm going to try to get them on board with this, but just bear with me. It's going to take me a little bit of time. I'm going to call you first thing tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Is that okay with you, Bob? Okay, cool. Hop off the phone, send them a calendar invite, send them a text, send them an email, call them tomorrow morning. Now we're just doing some posturing. Now in some cases, again, we have to make that offer on the first call. It doesn't always work. They don't have time for our second call. They don't want to do a second call. They want us to give them an offer. Now I'm not going to play too hard to get. Now you can also wait too long. I see people that wait weeks to make an offer. That's crazy, right? So usually it's about a 24-hour period or 1 business day period for making that offer. Now in some cases, we'll make the offer same day on a second call. What we found is the more talk time we have with the seller, the more total interactions we have, the more likely we are to build rapport, build trust, and actually do business with them, right? A lot of times for sellers, it's not just about getting the perfect price. It's, do they trust that you can close? Do they like you? Do they want to do business with you? Do they trust that you're going to take care of their property and their legacy? And this becomes even more important as you start working on more expensive properties. That legacy piece becomes very important, as well as trust. I can't tell you how many sellers we hear from where someone sent them a highfalutin offer and they liked it, and that person never called them back or never followed through and left them holding the bag. That creates a real distrust to strangers trying to buy their property. And so we've got to show them that we're different, that we follow through, that we have a reputation, that we have social proof, that we know what the heck we're doing. A lot of times sellers are going to look at you to be the leader. They're going to look at you to remove the friction from the process and make it smooth for them. They're putting their trust in you. I always say you're a service provider. You're providing a service. You're providing liquidity to sellers, so act like it. Again, so many people hinge all of their value on making the highest and best offer, and now you're only competing on price. And even if you have the right price, sometimes sellers are still going to say no. They're not always just money motivated. Okay, so that's the kind of the intro call flow. Now let's talk about renegotiation calls. There's not really a secret in terms of the call flow there. The secret is push and pull. The secret is don't be afraid to walk away from the deal and show the seller that you mean business. Hey seller, I'm an investor. I'm in the business of buying deals at a discount. I provide liquidity, I close fast, I make it easy for you, but I need to buy this thing at a discount. I'm not going to beat around the bush about that, okay? Now, if a seller is pressing you and they want more money, I'll start playing dumb with them. I'll say, hey, well, I got a good realtor. Maybe you want to use that. Or have you ever thought about listing with a realtor? Or why not just use a realtor? Or maybe I'm not the best partner for you on this deal. Show them that you're not afraid to walk away from the deal. Now they're chasing you, right? It's very much like dating. If you're too needy and you're really pushing this person that you're trying to date, you're going to scare them off. You've got to show that you have value, that you're okay losing them because you know there's more deals out there, right? We're not coming from a place of scarcity. Sellers can sniff that a mile away. And so I see people on negotiations that just lay down immediately, or they try to bend and make everything work for the seller. You're losing your value. So don't be afraid to walk away from the deal. It's simply not as consequential as you think to call the deal off, give it some breathing room, and see if they come back to you. I always say the person that's willing to sit in the most discomfort with a negotiation is the person that wins, right? Make that silly offer. Be uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to lose the deal. That's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to ask for what you want. So many of us are conditioned to not get what we want. We think it's inappropriate to ask for what we really want. So you want to offer $25,000 on the deal, but you think you got to be at 30 because you want to be correct and you don't want to offend them. Screw that. Forget that. Get uncomfortable, right? I want to train my team to sit in uncomfortable conversations. That's the secret. In some cases, these renegotiations can last months. Where the deal is off, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on, right? We had a deal that was in Tennessee that took us 8 months to get a contract signed, and we sent over 20 contracts, over 100 texts, and over 200 phone calls. And every week the deal was on, it was off, it was on, it was off, it was on, it was off, it was on, it was off, but we weren't afraid to walk away from it. So at the end, we got what we wanted. So that's the general flow. Those are the general principles. Now, key questions to ask. Well, I want to figure out their relationship to the property. How did they come to own it? Because a seller that bought the deal 10 years ago versus someone that inherited it 20 years ago, two very different dynamics. So figure out what's their relationship to the property, and figure out why are they on the phone with you? Why are they not listed it themselves? Why are they selling now? Why did they sell it 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Those are the key questions. Now, we're gonna throw some lay down questions for them, right? Questions about the property, or have they walked on it, or what are the trees like, what's the road like? And that gives us some intel on the property, but honestly, it just makes small talk. And it makes relevant small talk about the property. When we look at these calls, again, the more talk time we can have, the better the outcome is going to be. When I see that my team had an hour-long call on our first interaction with a seller, I love that. When I see that my team had a 5-minute call with a seller, I hate that. Those 5-minute calls rarely pan out. unless we can re-engage them and continue the conversations. So by making small talk and making it relevant to the property, we can build more trust, have more talk time, and gain some intel on the property in the process. The only major do's and don'ts is really on the don't side. The don't side is don't concede so quickly. You hit them with a 60K offer, they say I want 80 and you just say yes. Don't concede, right? Even if you have to come back and call them tomorrow and say yes, that's okay. Be willing to walk away from the deal. It's your superpower. Now, how do we get comfortable with that? Well, I have a belief that my next best deal is always right around the corner. The best deal I've ever done is the next deal I'm gonna do. It's always waiting for me. So if I lose this deal, it's no sweat off my back. I know there's more deals out there. I come from a place of abundance. I come from a place of knowing there's endless opportunities. And if I get this deal to work or not, that's totally okay. All right, Josh, hope this was helpful. This is how we manage our seller call flows and our process and our renegotiations and all that jazz. It's more principles than less scripts, or we're using the perfect wording. I hope this was helpful. If you just want to get inside of our Discord, it's landinvestor.co/Discord. It's a room full of over 1,000 bad to the bone 6 and 7 figure land investors, and it's free. If you guys want to learn more about building a badass land business and scaling to 6 or even 7 figures this year, head over to landinvestor.co/apply. We are only allowing 15 folks every month to join Leah. We're focusing on quality over quantity. See you guys in the next video.